You got me down again.
Okay guys, this is going to be our, I believe our third video, right? Number 3.
Correct.
So this is our number 3 video, and we just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on where we stand. A lot of work has been done on this thing since we've taken it on, and we're going to show it off right now. So let's get started. So here it is in the booth. Now we've already had the glass guy come out, and I don't know if you noticed this, but we've already, you see this, James? We've already pulled the windows.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting because when the glass guy, we use a glass guy to come out and remove all of our glass from all of our builds. Some of the stuff we do ourselves, but these guys are professionals and they do this stuff for a living. It's just better to let these guys come out and do it.
Well, because they're not going to break it. Wait. We would never break anything.
We would never break anything. Yeah, we've broken glass before. So usually on windshields, back glass. Now on this car, windshields are still available, so we're going to actually install a brand new windshield. The quarter window glass, we actually acquired brand new OEM, so we're excited about that. And this quarter glass, you know, it's weathered. It has original rubbers around them, and of course the new window glass, the quarter glass, actually comes complete with the rubbers attached. So kind of excited about that. So the fact that we were relying on a glass guy to remove this doesn't really matter because these are getting replaced and these are going to probably get tossed. But we had to wait to have him remove these because we have to remove these rear quarter panels before we actually unbolt these. These are a bolt-in item. They've already removed the back glass. Now, for whatever reason, this particular car, it had a rear window wiper. We're gonna actually fill the hole on this. We're gonna go ahead and fill this hole as well, since the original movie car did not have a rear window wiper, so we're gonna remove that on this car. This is a typical rust spot that you see on Supras. This is a common area for these cars to actually rust. So we're gonna cut this out in its entirety and weld that up properly. But as you can see, the rear body panel, okay, so dude, look how straight this is. You know, there's something to be said about a car when you look at it from this angle, right? So the tail lights have been removed. The bumper, obviously the bumper is gone. This bumper reinforcement is actually a welding piece. I didn't realize these were welded in. Are these welded
There's fasteners right here.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
Okay.
incorrect as usual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not a welding piece, dude. This actually has a U-Haul. This has a U-Haul trailer.
What's really nice about this hitch, actually,
hitch.
it's a hidden hitch. You would have never known it was there the whole time.
So
it's,
we're gonna leave
you cannot
it, right?
see anything.
We're gonna
I
leave
mean,
it.
leave it. Why would you take it off?
We're gonna leave
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So the reason why I want to point this out is, you know, this is your telltale sign that this car has never been in a rear-end collision. When you see this rear body panel, these are all your factory seams right here. This is all factory seams. It's nice to see a car that's never been rear-ended hard, you know, and this car has never taken a hit in the back. So this is a great car in the sense of it, yeah, it's a little weathered. It's seen some days, but you know, at the end of the day, it hasn't been in a collision, and that's a big plus when the kind of money we're gonna throw into this build. It just makes sense not to throw it into a car that has had a lot of previous damage.
It's great because the importance of it is, you know, it's never been bent up.
Yeah.
You know it's straight. You know, like, oh man, when we get it together, why isn't the body kit lining up front?
And
well, there's no questions with this one.
Yeah. as you can see, the engine bay has been cleaned up significantly now. This radiator support has seen some damage, and of course we've gotten all the dents out of that. We put some filler in here and we pulled some of the dents out, but you could see that. And there, in the previous build, when someone did the 1JZ, they had a, what was this, the intake?
There was a turbo hose that came off and went in there. It was really ugly. That was a square hole with a round peg in it, you know, and it was
we welded that up, yep, cleaned that up. So now what we're doing is, you can see this entire engine bay has been scuffed down. We prepared it, and the next step is to apply primer to this. Yeah, and that's right, the subframe assembly has been removed. Where is it? Oh, there you go. All right, so subframe assembly has been removed from the car. It just makes it a lot nicer. This will all be cleaned up and detailed in depth. I mean, we're gonna go ahead and probably sandblast a lot of these smaller parts. All these bolts and whatnot will be cleaned up.
I forgot,
detail.
Toyota used a two-piece subframe. You see this aluminum cast section and then the steel stamp section, right? I wonder what their reasoning was behind that. Maybe for the rigidity of the steel and the lightweight of the aluminum, right?
I'm wondering if it had to do with the fact that they made right-hand and left-hand drive configurations of this car. Maybe it just made more sense that this piece is interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
So right-hand and left-hand drive part, this will work, and then they just casted this part since they made a right-hand drive variation and a left-hand drive variation.
Less metal.
Right? I mean, I'm thinking that might be the reason. But yeah, so guys, the next step now is to get this thing primered. And that's the process. So what's going to happen now is the entire engine bay will be primered. And as you can see, we were able to bring back the paint, take it all the way down to the factory primer here. And this, as discussed in our previous video, we had conversations about whether or not we were going to keep the engine bay black or paint it body color, which is the orange. And we've decided that this engine bay is going to be orange. And not just the engine bay, but also, you know, the entire, all the cowling, you know, the cowling cover was removed, and this will be able to be prepped and painted properly. So, you know, our idea is to make this look like the car came out of the factory in this orange. Talking about orange, we've got over here the color. So, you know, we did a little bit of research. Not a little bit, we kind of actually did some in-depth research on colors. The actual color is called Arancio Atlas Mica. These are the colors. We're going with an RN paint. This is a water-based paint, you know. We're in California, so everything has to be painted with water-based colors. But water-based, actually, the paint material has come a long way. And of course, this is great material. We're excited to use it. So you've got your base color. Now this is your base, and interestingly enough, it's not, actually that's the actual color. This is your base color. Your base color is kind of a creamy white. I don't know if you could see it in this video, but it's actually kind of a creamy white. Has a little bit of an orange pigment to it. And then of course your main color is the actual second stage, and it's a kind of it's a pearl orange, and that is the correct color. The next step, the reason why we're doing the engine bay first is because, you know, everything that gets built here at our shop kind of goes in segments. The 2JZ motor that is on the stand getting built, what our plan is to get that build done in its entirety, get the entire engine bay ready to go, put it in the car, you know, put the engine in the car, get it to where we dial it in. There's so much detail work that's going to go into this engine bay to replicate the original movie car or Craig's actual car that we want to do it right. And there's so many other things that we want to do on the car. We didn't want this engine build to tie up the other stuff, like fitting the body kit and getting all of the interior components sorted out. So what we decided to do is get this entire engine bay prepared so that we could get it in its final stage, drop the engine, get the subframe detail clean, painted, back in place, drop the engine, the transmission. And then of course we can start focusing our effort on the intercooler setup because we want the body kit to fit properly, and there's just making all those adjustments, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do all that stuff and then have to take the body kit back off, put it on. The car's not gonna be ready for its final paint job until this is a runner and driver. We wanna run this car, put some miles on it before we do our final paint. But the engine bay will have already been painted and detailed, so that's one thing we don't have to focus on. You know, we could take the engine back out of the car and paint this engine bay at the same time we do the body work, but that's just going to delay the build process. So what we've decided to do is we've decided to get the entire engine bay done, drop the engine drivetrain in it, make it a runner and driver, put it on the dyno, get our tunes out of the way, get all of our focus on the drivetrain and the drivability done, and then really focus on the body and the interior.
This scene reminds me of a movie. I can't remember. Maybe it was Hellraiser or...
Hellraiser.
Yeah, or there was a movie where they went in outer space. They went through a wormhole and they like visited hell, and but it's like a body with the entrails just like suspended.
Oh, this? Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really kind of get into this detail, but obviously this is how we're kind of pulling the wiring harness out of the way. You know, the one thing we didn't want to do is pull the entire wire harness out of this car and make for putting it back together or pain in the butt. The wiring harness was actually in really good condition on this car, but this is pretty much just kind of pulling it out of the way so that when the engine bay is primered and prepped, it won't have overspray all over it. And yeah, it does kind of look like
there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. I mean, it saves time.
A botched surgery. But yeah, and to circle back on what you were talking about, man, these rails are amazing. I mean, look at
it's straight.
Look how straight this car is.
Yeah.
Don't you love this?
All the welds are original, all the seam sealer is original, right? All those little things that you look at, you're like, this car's never been...
I don't see any
put back together.
These are all your crease lines. You know, I'm sure you guys know what these are for. If you don't, I'll tell you right now. So this is for a front impact, right? The manufacturer built this into the frame rail so that when this car takes a front end impact, as opposed to just going sideways or off to one side, depending on how you hit it, how hard you hit it, it'll do that anyway. But on a front end impact, it actually wrinkles at these low points. A lot of people probably know that.
And this car's never been wrinkled.
Never been wrinkled.
Yeah.
Yeah, super clean, straight front end. It's actually a really good body, you know, good body. I think the biggest challenge to this build is going back and replicating in detail what this interior looked like. The wheels, we were lucky to find the wheels thanks to Craig and his resources and his contacts. You know, the taillights, the headlights, all the stuff that we're replacing brand new, that stuff's easy. But it's finding stuff that was made 23 years ago or 22 years ago that has been out of production for, you know, a long time. Sometimes you got to make it from scratch or make it as close to original as possible, and that's essentially what we're doing.
Which
here, so.
We're going to be definitely having to deal with this in the back, right?
Oh, for sure.
That entertainment system, a lot of those pieces we'll have to make or at least get as close as we can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I do agree. You know, we could actually pull the seats out of this and send those out and get that kind of out of the way. And of course, the whole back seat assembly has to come out of this car, because if I remember correctly, the original, you know, Craig's car didn't have a rear seat.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was all stereo equipment. So we're going to have to start gathering photos of Craig's car. And, you know, and that's something we hit on in a previous video is Craig, you know, Craig didn't take a lot of video and a lot of pictures back in the day. There wasn't the convenience of having a camera attached to your phone back then, and it was just, it's something that people didn't do. You know, that's going to be the tricky part, is finding really good detailed photos of the back seat configuration, and being that it was a back seat delete, because it was, you know, and there was a monitor back there, and there was amps, and there was all sorts of things, and of course the NOS bottles. That's going to be an interesting.
Call up Craig, get him over here.
When we get down to the nitty gritty, we really have to decide, now that we know what's available and what's not available, is just how far we can deviate from the actual original car.